Hey, guess what's happening on this week's episode of the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with your friend and host, Oscar Camejo.
Motivation. Yeah, so that's what we're waiting for. So you mean to tell me that in order for you to pursue the healthy lifestyle you know you want and that you know you need, you have to be motivated? Really? We really need to talk and have a conversation, because I think waiting for some spark of motivation to ignite us is probably doing more harm than good. Diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, heart disease, kidney disease. These conditions are not concerned about whether or not you are motivated to make the necessary lifestyle changes to improve your health, folks. Today, I want to take some time to encourage you to stop waiting on motivation in order to actively pursue good health. I need you to stick around to hear the rest of today's episode. We have to talk. You don't want to miss it. Let's go. Be sure to visit the website at www.beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com for access to free resources and other information that will help you along your journey. If you would like to submit a question or a comment about the show or to learn more about the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle, you can always email me at hello@beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to this podcast. Folks, welcome to the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with me, your host, Oscar Camejo, helping diabetics make lifestyle changes to reverse type 2 diabetes. Thank you so much for joining me. Man, we have a lot to talk about. But you know what? Today, I wanted to do something a little different. I wanted to make a brief episode and really just talk from the heart, because I know a lot of people are waiting for motivation. They're trying to be inspired. Maybe you had a New Year's resolution and you just kind of forgot about it. You know, today we're going to dive into stop waiting for motivation to move you towards good health. You know, in my personal journey, I know what it is to wanting motivation. You want to be inspired and encouraged, and sometimes you just don't feel like it, man. So in my situation, I used to think the same way when I was 268 pounds and unhealthy. Before I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes back in 2020, I didn't exercise consistently. And I wasn't eating healthy. And when it came to sleep, I was probably getting maybe 4 hours of sleep every night, just trying to function, right? Yes, I was functioning, but not efficiently. You know, I was sick and I was heading for a disaster. And folks, the sad thing about it is I didn't even know it. I knew that I was overweight and, you know, I was just dealing with all kinds of things. You know, I wasn't feeling my best. You know, I wanted to lose weight, but I wasn't motivated. I was tired all the time and I didn't have the energy. I didn't have the desire to start doing the right things consistently when it came to my health, folks. I just wasn't feeling it. It wasn't until I found myself in the hospital back in August 2020 and finding out that I had developed type 2 diabetes that I finally made a decision to change. It was a tough decision, but I needed to make it. And you know what? Every year around August, I reflect on my life and what could have happened. Man, I could have not been around to tell the story or even to launch the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast and do so much more. You know, I'm grateful to God that I'm here. You know, at the time of this recording, it's been exactly 6 years, folks, since my health scare. Man, I wish I had listened to my doctor the months and the years before things became worse. Man, I wish I had pursued good health and stuck with it before I gained so much weight, which affected so much other things, you know? Was it my lack of motivation, though, that caused me to be sick with type 2 diabetes and gain the weight and deal with high blood pressure and high cholesterol? Was it because I didn't have motivation? Nah. It was my previous choices, my lifestyle habits that played a major role, folks. You know, and that's why when I talk to people, when I meet new people and they want to turn their life around, I ask them, you know, what's your situation? Like, what's going on? You know, you may be listening to me or watching me and you're dealing with a whole bunch of some of the same conditions. I want to encourage you to stop waiting for the right moment, the right day, the right set of circumstances. Stop waiting for the new gym to open up down the street in your neighborhood. Stop waiting on your friends to get themselves together so you all can all pursue good health together. Because you know what? If you wait on other folks, you'll probably be waiting for a long time. Motivation can be like striking a match to light a fire. That spark, folks, is just temporary. But now let me ask you a question. Do you want the fire or do you want the spark? I think you want the fire. But how many times have you struck that match, but that match of getting healthy just fizzled out because you were following the latest trend or the latest social media challenge, the 30-day, but whatever. I personally stopped doing short-term challenges, folks, in pursuit of changing my lifestyle to live a better life that I can sustain long-term. And that's what I want you to pursue. I want you to start where you are and keep moving. This is going to cost you. When you don't feel like it, it's going to cost you. When your emotions and anxiety have you in a chokehold, yes, it's going to be tough, but I need you to start. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. What are you going to do with it? And when I mean start, I really mean start. And the motivation, yes, and the inspiration, all that stuff will come. But I need you to start today. When it comes to starting, that sounds so simple, right? It sounds so easy. Oh yeah, just start. Like start what? When I talked about the spark earlier, we're waiting on a spark to get motivated. We're waiting on some magical thing to happen in order for us to pursue good health. Folks, sometimes we got to start where we are. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about having everything lined up, have everything perfect. I remember when I finally decided to get my stuff together. I wanted to make sure oh man, okay, I have the right gym clothes or the right whatever, gym shoes. And one day it hit me, man, just use what you have. Use the old t-shirt, use the old pair of shorts, use the shoes that you have and do something. So for me, it was the gym. At the time, I was thinking okay, I need to get into the gym and do something, right? I wanted to start with the physical health. But some people watching or listening may have physical limitations. I get it. But where I want you to start is here in the mind. You have to start thinking differently in order to do things differently, if that makes sense. Sometimes we're waiting for this inspiration or this motivation. And, we just need to start by changing this thinking. I used to think of myself as this big fat walrus. If you've been following me for a number of years, I've kind of talked about this before. But yeah, when I was 268 pounds, I would look in the mirror and I would be like, oh man, there was a period in my life where I started thinking negatively about myself because of my weight. And I'm generally a positive person, but there was this period in my life where just this thinking was just hindering me, It was causing me to not have motivation. I didn't have the inspiration, let alone the energy. But then I was like, no, I got to change. This is not like you, Oscar, to be thinking of yourself as this big fat walrus. You're not. You're Oscar, and Oscar means something. Your life means something. Your life is worth living. Yeah, you have this diabetes scare, but what are you going to do? You got the news. The doctor gave you the paper. He read off to you all the things that are going on, the high blood pressure, the high cholesterol, all this other stuff. Yeah, he put you on medication. He told you to eat right. He told you to exercise, And I remember once I asked my doctor, I said, hey, how long do I have to be on these meds? And, he was trying to be funny, but he said, until your name is on a tombstone. I was like, what? Basically, he was saying, you're going to be on meds for the rest of your life. And those words, on meds for the rest of your life, it did something to me. It told me that I needed to change my thinking. It also told me that I have to be mindful of the things that people say, which can be demotivating, it can be deflating. And some of you who are watching, maybe you are feeling deflated because you had certain expectations of loved ones and they just didn't show up for you. You're already struggling on your own. So I just want to encourage you to start today. And if you need a little bit of help on starting, like, okay, Oscar, I hear what you're saying, like, but where do I start? How do I start? Well, again, when I talked about the mindset, that's very important because the mind is a battlefield, right? And this health war, this health journey that you're on, you're either going to win or lose starting here, what's up in the mind. So for me, what I did was early on when I started working out, I wanted to do more research on exercises that didn't require a lot of weights per se, like the machines. I just wanted to work on my body and feeling and moving better. So I started learning about flexibility. I started learning about, yes, losing weight, but more than just, walking on the treadmill. Walking on the treadmill is good, but, if you don't have a gym membership and you don't have a facility near you where you can go and walk on the treadmill, well, what do you have? Where you have a free pavement outside, you have free air outside. So start somewhere. Don't use not having a gym as an excuse. Don't use your friends not being available as an excuse. Well, maybe I need a personal trainer and all this other stuff. Some of you can't afford a personal trainer. You're wasting money on a personal trainer. Sometimes these people that you hire, they've never been in your shoes and they can't relate to the struggles in the mind. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying if a trainer has not had type 2 diabetes that they can't help you. I just don't want people to be taken advantage of. That's really the point that I'm trying to make. So you're like, okay, where do I start? Yeah, you can start with the gym, but you know what? For you diabetics out there, I would say you want to start with what is up here in the mind, yes, but also what you're putting in your body. What things are you eating, of course? And I'm not going to go too in depth in that, but there are places that the mind will take us that will either push us further or push us backward. So you got to start with healing the mind, which is going to affect healing the heart. If you're dealing with stress, dealing with some emotional stuff. Start with the mind. It's going to affect the heart. And when it comes to you getting out and doing the physical stuff, all that mind work that you've been doing, the mental exercise, the mental strength building is going to keep you moving. Trust me. And that's another point that I want to make. Start by moving. Doesn't matter how many steps, how long, or whatnot. Just move, folks. And there is the intangible movement and there is the tangible movement. You're shifting your mindset. That's movement. Moving from one place or one thought pattern to another thought pattern. And for many of us, that's moving from an unhealthy thought pattern to a more positive thought pattern. And then there's the physical. Yes, the physically going to the gym, walking, hiking, swimming. It could be a whole bunch of things, right? And doing all of that consistently is going to be important. I remember when I came home from the hospital, talking about eating, right? And shifting the mindset. Not only did I have to stop thinking negatively, I had to change my environment. I got rid of a bunch of junk food that I had, soda. Uh, I went not crazy. I went off and just threw a whole bunch of things in the trash, got rid of a whole bunch of things. And I was like, nah, enough is enough, man. So I had to clean up my environment. I had to change my lifestyle by doing quite a few things. And I talk a lot about this stuff through almost every episode. I'm kind of giving you guys bits and pieces of things that I hope you can relate to, But overall, I had to change my lifestyle, hence where the Beating Diabetes lifestyle movement came in, right? The idea for it, because I want people to be healthy and live a healthy lifestyle, So I have this list of podcast episodes that I've done over the years. And recently I shared a lifestyle behavior series. If you're looking for something to get you going, if you will, while you're working out or while you're driving, I've covered a bunch of topics over the last 4 years or so that I've launched this podcast. And folks, if you're dealing with stress, if you're dealing with, okay, what do I do when it comes to food? What do I do when it comes to movement? How do I develop a routine? What should I be consuming or not? What about medical advice? What questions should I ask my doctor when I go for my blood work and I have this, feeling like something is wrong? What should I ask? I have a whole bunch of episodes, over 156 episodes. I think it's 156 episodes now, that will help you or help your loved ones. So from sugary beverages to what happens when you constantly consume ultra processed foods, what happens when you're eating late at night and eating the wrong foods late at night consistently, what happens when you are always eating out and you're not cooking enough at home. I got something on that. And all these episodes are free, right? So you can also go on my website, beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com, to get some more information. I have a whole bunch of free stuff out there. Just want to give into you guys' lives, man. Blog posts and whatnot. So anyway, strength training. What's the importance of building muscle and maintaining muscle, especially if you're on these GLP-1 drugs and you're losing all this weight and you're not even building muscle? Like, what's the long-term effect? That's a great episode. I have episodes on poor sleep, chronic stress, and how stress is affecting your blood sugar numbers and, making matters worse. What happens when you're eating emotionally? Man, I have so much stuff that I just want you guys to prosper when it comes to your health. So, and what about those sugary drinks? What effects are those sugary drinks having on your body? So, folks, hopefully you've been inspired to stop seeking motivation, stop looking for that spark, and just get out and just start. Today, I don't care if you're listening to this at midnight or if you're listening to this on your way to work or you're at work, or I don't know what you're doing. Wherever you are, whenever this is playing on your player, if you will, I want you to remember this thing, man. Stop looking for the motivation, because the motivation is just a temporary spark. You need a lifestyle that is sustainable. You want to build good habits that are going to benefit you later on. Folks, I trust you. Trust me. The life that I live right now, the healthy lifestyle that I live, it's not a trend. This is how I live. This is how I eat. This is how I move. And I'm glad that I started somewhere, because when you start making the right steps, even when you don't have everything figured out, even when, you're stressed out about all this stuff, You'll get there one day. You'll get to that place where it's like, man, you know what? I feel good about myself. And that's what I want. I want you to feel good about yourself. I want you to be happy. I want you to be glad that you're pursuing good health, because good health is your inheritance. We're supposed to be living a inherently good life, folks. You know, when it comes to lifestyle, yes, lifestyle changes are critical, folks. When it comes to weight loss is a powerful tool. Even just losing 5% of your body weight, your current body weight, can make a big difference when it comes to your blood sugar numbers, your A1C, all that stuff. You know, sustained efforts, they are going to lead to results. It's like doing things that you can sustain. You will win. You will see long-term effects, folks. I just want you to focus on progress, not perfection. You know, none of us are perfect. None of us are going to be doing any of this stuff perfectly. But I want you to be consistent. So I want you to get out there and I want you to put this lifestyle into action. I want you to put action towards these lifestyle things that I've been talking to you about. So my friend, as always, stay focused, keep moving, never go back, leap forward, bounce back because you can, my friend. And above all else, trust God. You got this. I believe in you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with Oscar Camejo. We hope you enjoyed this episode. As a reminder, this podcast is intended for motivational and educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional care by a physician or other healthcare professional or qualified fitness instructor. This podcast is provided on the understanding that it does not constitute medical or professional advice or services. If you're looking for help on your journey, seek a qualified medical practitioner. It's important that you utilize someone who is a trained, licensed healthcare professional who can help you on your journey toward good health.